How's it going, Project MoshPit? I have a hell of a standard game here for you against InertFury. We actually took this less than 24 hours ago. I was live streaming at the time, and then Rich was like, "I haven't played you in a while," and I was like, "You want to do standard? Because I got this team that I have fun with." And then he was like, "Yeah, I got a team too," and it worked out pretty good. Now, those of you that are actually looking at the team preview, recognizing that this is the same team from last time, I figured I would upload this match here so that way you guys don't actually have to hear too much about how my team actually works, and more about the actual game. So the thing with this first couple of turns, I kind of feel the need to explain. It's kind of self-explanatory what happens on the screen, aside from this weird thing that happened right here. We were in the Skype call, and then someone actually mentioned that he was tricked with Flame Orb. Now, he was present, so he knew that I knew that he was tricked with Flame Orb. So based on that knowledge, I kind of thought that a different series of plays would have happened. You know, he might have gone for a Psychic or something like that. He might have switched. I don't know. I just did not want to leave my Choice Scarf on him on the off chance that he would have just switched the item right back. I would have been locked in on the Trick, and then I would have had to stay locked in on the Trick. So that was kind of my thought process with that. It was a little bit unfair that that happened because I didn't really want that knowledge, and he didn't really want it, you know, out in the open either. But I'm not going to stay in anyway because he does have, you know, recovery. I don't. He doesn't take burn damage. I do. Knowing that he is a Trick Flame Orb set now, as I was supposed to know, I'm going to switch out into Volcarona to take the Flame Orb because basically, you know, I won't get burned from it. It's the only thing that I'll appreciate holding it, and that it won't do anything for me at all. But he actually predicts that very nicely. Goes out into his Landorus. Now, I do have a physically defensive Hitmontop, so I can take a Stone Edge or a U-turn or an Earthquake, just about anything he wants to throw at me. I'm thinking that this is a Scarf set, which is the reason he actually stayed in and went for the Stone Edge, because I'm a timid Volcarona. Actually thinking about it, a Jolly Landorus with outspeed as well. So I'm still not 100% what he is, but based on the fact that he switches out, he might be choiced. So it's good to keep in the back of my mind for now. But I know I can't do anything to Landorus being a Hitmontop, so I switch out to my Jirachi as he switches into his Reuniclus. Now, I take a huge gamble here. I'm going for the Stealth Rock. Based on what's on the field right now, I'm thinking that he'll probably predict me to go for the Iron Head and, you know, try to flinch him, so he'll try to get up to full and then trick it onto me. But he predicts the Iron Head correctly on this one. But the thing is, I already have my rocks up, and I'm glad I get him up when I do, because I can start getting that passive damage going that much quicker, and I'm not seeing a Rapid Spinner on his team. I do see Scarf, so I might as well, you know, try to paralyze it. I was aiming for just the speed cut, so something else could handle it. So maybe even I don't know what I have on this team that would make a difference with. Maybe possibly Gastro. I have no idea. But he gets the full para, which is really unfortunate. I wasn't aiming for that, but because he gets the para on these two turns, he had two opportunities to set up Stealth Rocks and, you know, prevent my Volcarona from coming in safely. Worst case scenario, probably would have pushed the duration of the match a little bit farther, since I more than likely would have ended up finding a good opportunity to bring in my Hitmontop and Rapid Spin because he has no spin blockers, and, you know, I probably would have brought in Volcarona anyway, given that the rocks were up. So that could have been a pivot point for the entire game, probably would have made it longer. Going back to what's going on right now, I do get the Spec Attack Race from the Fiery Dance, which is, I think, like a 40 to 50% chance, so it's not uncommon to have that happen. But based on the +1, I might as well try going for the Bug Buzz. I don't know what he'd want to do. He'll probably attack, predicting me to try to set up anyways. As much as I wanted to switch out to Gastro, I don't really know why I didn't. I guess I was just running under the impression that I could have killed, and I don't. So that's kind of my stupid fault there, you know, just for not playing it safe and going out to Gastro. I think I actually forgot I had it at the moment, but he brings in Latios. I'm not going to want to stay in. I do have Wish support in the form of Jirachi, though, so my Volcarona is not out just yet. Plus, this Jirachi is specifically tailored to take hits from Latios, being max HP, max HP, max defense. Its typing, you know, makes it so it resists both of its stabs. Even a Hidden Power Fire will not really do a lot. But because he switches out after the Psyshock, I'm still running under the... Well, I'm now running under the impression that he's choiced. So I'm going to go for a Wish fairly safely on the switch out to Reuniclus. Now, the thing is here I have to make a important decision in that whether or not he's going to predict me to go out to Volcarona, which is the very obvious play. And I see that he did predict me to go out to it in order to pass the Wish, which is why I stay in here and, you know, basically waste that Wish. But I'm going to Iron Head to the point where it'll force him to recover, so that way I can go out to Volcarona manually without any recovery. But Jirachi's going to be a dick, you know, flinch him a couple times because I'm faster and whatnot. And now I'm either predicting the Trick to dump the Flame Orb onto me so I can quit recovering and, you know, also have my Iron Heads be crippled, or the Recover to get his health back up. He predicted differently. I end up with one of the best double switch advantages in the game, in that he goes out to Skarmory and I go out into my Volcarona. He's paralyzed as well, not that that really comes into play whatsoever, other than the fact he might get a Parahax at the end. But the things he doesn't. And I'm going to go for a stock Fiery Dance, which I thought would take him out, but much to my surprise, the lefties from the previous turn actually helps him out because he is a specially defensive Skarmory and is going to take me out with the Brave Bird from that range, which really kind of sucks, but, you know, I'm actually kind of glad he got it, you know, just because of what Rachi's been doing and what it will proceed to do in this game, you know, just be a hacks machine. But I'm going to go to my Choice Scarfer because it's what you do on double downs. You might as well try to get a momentum going on that. Now, because I'm a Mesprit, I know that the U-turn is fairly obvious, but because I am the spirit, so to speak, between the hyper offensive and the hyper defensive, you know, Azelf and Uxie respectively, I have a bit of natural bulk to myself, more so than Azelf. Because of that, I know I can take an unstab hit from Landorus, even if it's super effective. So I end up going for the Ice Beam because I recognize that his Landorus is weak to it. His Reuniclus won't like taking more than, you know, 1 or 2 of those. And if he switches in his Latios for whatever reason, it won't like taking an Ice Beam either. But there's a second double down of the game. I'm sad to see my Scarfer go because now he brings in his Landorus again. The only thing I have on my team that would really like to take it is Hitmontop or Gastrodon. But what I want to do, being at the range of health that I'm at right now, I was under the impression I could have lived this Earthquake, and I do, but not nearly as well as I thought I would. It actually kind of scared me. I thought I would have died, but I go for the Body Slam to cripple it because actually I know it's a Choice Scarfer because he got his U-turn off before I did. But now that it's a paralyzed Choice Scarfer, I might as well try to go for some Iron Heads, go for the kill from here. I do get the flinch. If I didn't get the flinch, it would have been whatever. I could have brought in my Haxorus and then, you know, just done things from there. Or I could have even brought in Gastrodon and gone for the Scald. So if I flinch, you know, whatever. If I don't, whatever. I still have things that can take on a paralyzed Landorus. What matters is that I lived the Earthquake and got the paralysis from the Body Slam. Anything else outside of that is just, you know, kind of adding in my favor. In comes his Latios. Now, I don't know what his moveset is entirely. I see Psyshock. I see Hidden Power Fire. I'm assuming he's Choice. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go into my Haxorus, right? I'm going to Dragon Dance, and he's going to switch out. Except he doesn't switch out because he's Expert Belted, and he's just going to slap me with a Draco Meteor in my face. I have to give major props to him. He bluffed the hell out of that Choice item the entire time, giggling like a bitch during that Skype call. You got me, dude. You got me. You know, I will bow to you for that play, because now I've lost both of my sweepers, basically almost all of my offensive momentum in this game. And all I have left is a Gastrodon and a Hitmontop versus the rest of his things. And if I'm going to win, it's going to be very slowly, much like a slug. So he recovers off the prior damage that I don't really remember where he got it. But I also go for an Ice Beam to see how much it does. It disappointingly does less than half. So I'm going to need some toxic damage to help me out. That's what I do. If he wants to switch out, he probably will, because most Gastrodons tend to be specially defensive. Mine is actually physically defensive, which actually does end up helping me out in this game, and you guys will see why, right, with this Terrakion. So I ended up going for a Recover on the off chance he would have gone for another Draco Meteor for whatever reason. I figured I could have tried Recover stalling him out at that point, but he tells me right now, I was kind of curious as to his nature. It really didn't end up mattering because the two things that I have actually end up being you know, slower than it, so it's not like him telling me the nature. He tells me he's adamant with Life Orb, which is why that this actually ends up hurting so much, and I do see the Life Orb at the end, so that kind of makes sense that that's why it hurts so much. I recover almost all of it off. It's a nasty amount to do to me, but it's also a number I need to keep in the back of my head if I'm going to have Gastrodon, you know, try to take on Terrakion, because I need to keep my Gastrodon alive for Latios because my Hitmontop doesn't have any form of recovery on it. Now, the thing is that he's at -2 defense, and I put him in a situation where I think a Mach Punch will do a serious amount of damage to him, if not take him out, despite me being, you know, defensive. It will do a lot, to say the least. But he switches out to Latios. I do predict that. If I were to have died right there, I wouldn't have necessarily minded too much. The sad thing is that the strongest thing I can hit this Latios with is close combat, just because, you know, Mach Punch wouldn't have really worked out too well, and Sucker Punch would have failed because he switched. So the thing is that because he has shown me Expert Belt, he's shown me the Recover and all that, I tried to go for the Sucker Punch in vain. It was very obvious. But even though he's taking the time to recover, I don't really mind because, you know, this turn that he's not attacking me is actually just going to end up helping out Gastrodon in the long run in terms of toxic stalling. Now, I do go for the Sucker Punch here because I know that he will end up attacking me, knowing that the toxic damage is going to add up very, very well. And it does around the same damage that Ice Beam was doing. I think that's a little bit more, which is nice, but he's just going to take me out with the Side Shack. I was kind of waiting for that to happen along the line somewhere. Now, the only thing I have left is Gastro, who is not at full health, but is still at a point where, you know, if I'm a little bit below full health, it could end up being troublesome for me, because that extra, you know, HP might matter. But because he's Expert Belt and not actually Life Orb or Choice Specs, I end up taking this hit even though I am not specially defensive. I'm physically defensive, as I may or may not have mentioned. And I'm able to recover off this hit and just let Toxic take its toll on him. The thing is after Leftovers, it brings me into this very meh range where I don't even know if I can take on Terrakion. So it is really going to come down to the wire in terms of how the RNG decides to favor either one of us. So he can hit me with a close combat. That will, in fact, be his best move. But if he does not kill, I will be able to retaliate with an Earth Power. And after the special defense drop and the 10% of Life Orb recoil, I will end up taking him out. Now, because of that physical bulk I was just talking about, I actually am able to live it, and I do take him out. We did damage calcs afterwards. He had a 2% chance to one-shot me. So he probably got, looking at it, I want to say that's closer to the lower end of things. But the way that played out, it could have been anybody's game before we actually ended up researching that. It's a hell of a game, Rich. I really enjoyed it on that one. I'll go ahead and leave his link in the description as well, if that is possible. But I hope you guys enjoyed this game. If you did, you're welcome to leave a like, rating, comment, subscribe. Do your thing. Excuse me. My throat got a little sore. But that'll do it out of me for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.